Good evening, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling Talk, hosted by yours truly, Blitzball Champ, here on the U to the Tube. So, got a lot to discuss tonight. A whole lot to discuss. Gonna discuss, let's see, we're gonna discuss Stardom, gonna get caught up with the Stardom Cinderella tournament, the Future of Stardom Championship tournament started as well. Um, let's see, there were a couple of title matches that took place. We had the Goddess of Stardom tag titles defended, the Artist of Stardom trios titles defended. So gonna cover that. Um, see, gonna go over a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Also gonna go over a bunch of AEW and also the usual WWE stuff as well. But it's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, a lot that's happened. So yeah, we're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. So first off, we're gonna start off with Stardom, and I kind of wanted to get into a few things about the Stardom Cinderella tournament. So the first round, second round, quarterfinals have all been completed, and the semifinals and finals, which we already have the final four, will actually take place instead of May 29th. It's going to take place on June 12th. So it's going to be a little bit later than expected, but that's when they're going to finish the Cinderella tournament. Also, it has been decided that there will be a Future of Stardom championship tournament, and unfortunately, Saya Ida had to vacate the Future of Stardom title due to injury. There's no telling when she'll be back, but hopefully it'll be soon. And I know that Saki Kashima and Rina were originally supposed to be part of the Cinderella tournament, but they ended up being out. I think Saki was out due to think illness, and I think Rina as well, I believe, was out due to either minor injury or illness. One of the two. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but you know they weren't able to be part of the Cinderella tournament, unfortunately. So just a couple of things to make note of. But yeah, let's get into the Cinderella tournament matches. So we got started with the second round, as we had Saya Kamitani versus Starlight Kid, which was an amazing match. Definitely an amazing match. And I have to say, seeing these two go at it was actually a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. But ultimately, Saya Kamitani was able to get the victory on Starlight Kid and advance to the advance to the semifinals, because apparently she ended up getting a quarterfinals bye. So Saya Kamitani was able to best Starlight Kid and is now one of the final four in this tournament. So Saya Kamitani, representing Queen's Quest, has been looking really good in this tournament so far. So gotta give mad props to her. Another second round match was Donna Del Mundo showdown between Micah and Julia. And this was definitely an intense match. And it got to the point where a really bad botch took place. Whereas I guess Micah was going to sort of suplex Julia and ended up falling slightly to the point where Julia's head hit the blue ring post and actually split her head open. She had to apparently get stitches, but she was bleeding instantly. And Micah ended up eliminating Julia, which a lot of people would say that's an upset, but it was a it was technically considered an over the top rope elimination. But the way her head hit that blue ring post, just like it was nasty, and she had the big cut, split open, was bleeding profusely. Apparently had to get stitches, but Micah eliminates Julia. I mean, that's a pretty big upset. It's a pretty big upset. So with that, Micah advances and is one of the final four in this Cinderella tournament. So we got Sayaka Kamitani and Micah. And then we had a really good close match, second round match between Surety and Utami Hayashishita. Of course, these two are going to eventually have a match for Utami's World of Stardom Championship. But these two have kind of got a nice little rivalry going. And it was definitely back and forth in this match. But it was Surety that was able to get the over the top rope victory over Utami Hayashishita. So that was a big victory. That was a very big victory. And she actually ends up advancing to the quarterfinals to actually face Unagi Sayaka. So she doesn't get a bye like Micah and Saya Kamitani got. But it was still ultimately a good match. And like I said, it was a nice little preview to when they have the World of Stardom Championship match. Because that's definitely in the picture. But Shuri advances. And then we had the first quarterfinals match. Donna Del Mundo's Himeka goes up against Mayu Iwatani. Now, of course, this was starting to get really good. I mean, these two going up against each other, clash of different styles. But, of course, Oedo Tai did interfere and actually attack both Himeka and Mayu Iwatani. But with the help overall of interference, ended up mostly being to Himeka's favor, as she was able to get the over-the-top rope victory over Mayu Iwatani. So, and then afterwards, of course, Oedo Tai started beating up Mayu Iwatani, and apparently out of nowhere, this other lady shows up in like I guess kind of like a similar mask to Starlight Kid, and just wipes out Oedo Tai. Stars, Mayu and Starlight Kid unmask her, and it turns out to be Koguma, which I don't know a whole lot about Koguma, but apparently it's been like 5 or 6 years or something like that since she's been with Stardom. But apparently, if I remember correctly, she's a former high-speed champion, and I think an Artist of Stardom Trios champion. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but she was a former high-speed champion. So, yeah, and apparently with that, Koguma has officially joined Stars. So Mayu Iwatani gained another ally in Koguma. Koguma with the save. She's the newest member of Stars. So, guess you could say the momentum has shifted to Stars. They got a new member in Koguma, so the war continues, and the Stars have strengthened some in numbers. And this will definitely be good, especially considering both Jungle Kiona and Saya Ida are both out with injuries. So, getting Koguma back in there, this definitely works out. Definitely works out. But as far as the tournament, Himeka did get the victory. Therefore, she advances. And she is the third to be part of the final four. So we got Saya Kamitani, Maika, Himeka. And then we had the final quarterfinal match, which was Unagi Sayaka versus Surety. And the unthinkable happened. That's right. Unagi Sayaka gets the big, ginormous upset victory. Oh, and it was an over the top floor elimination over Surety. And Unagi Sayaka is the fourth member of the final four of the Cinderella Tournament 2021. I mean, but at the same time, I can't be too surprised because you got to remember, she won the All Star Rumble at All Star Dream Cinderella, the one of the more recent ones. So Unagi Sayaka has really been building up a lot of momentum ever since going on that 7-match trial losing streak. And then, bouncing back to win that All-Star Rumble. And in a way, she's kind of been on fire. In a way. And she just eliminated Surety. I mean, that's a ginormous upset. Because Surety rarely loses. And I know a lot of people want to say, yeah, well, it's, an over-the-top rope elimination. I mean, the rules are the rules. It's part of the rules, therefore it's legit, therefore it counts. So she might not have been pinned or submitted, but the rules are the rules. So, I mean, it is what it is. But Unagi Sayaka, with a big upset victory, eliminating Surety from the Cinderella tournament. And there you have it, folks. Our final four of the Cinderella tournament. Saya Kamitani of Queen's Quest, Maika and Himeka of Donna Del Mundo, and Unagi Sayaka of Cosmic Angels. Those are your final four. One of those four will win the Cinderella tournament and have the right to challenge for any title. For any title they want. And it looks like the final four matchups have been determined. And supposedly it's going to be Saya Kamitani versus Maika and Himeka versus Unagi Sayaka. I got a bad feeling about this. I really hope it doesn't come down to Maika versus Himeka. Because me personally, I would love for Saya Kamitani or for Unagi Sayaka to win this tournament. I mean, not necessarily saying it would be bad if Himeka or Maika won. It's just, last year Julia won the tournament. And I think it would just be really nice. My original pick was Momo Watanabe, but it's not going to happen. But I think Saya Kamitani would be a really good pick. Her or even Unagi Sayaka. I mean, I could see Saya Kamitani winning and challenging for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. A title that Tam Nakano really has not been defending. She hasn't been defending that title. She's been mainly focused on Cosmic Angels and defending the Artist of Stardom Trios title. She really has not been defending that Wonder of Stardom Championship. So part of me does feel like whoever wins this tournament is probably going to challenge Tam Nakano. That's my honest thoughts. I think whoever wins this tournament out of those four are going to challenge for the Wonder of Stardom title, the white belt. Unagi Sayaka, which I believe, other than the Future of Stardom Championship, this will be another big singles title shot that she could potentially have. She hasn't had many. And one of the things she announced was apparently as of April 1st, she has officially joined the Stardom roster. So she's an official member of the Stardom roster. So something to keep in mind. But out of these four, I would love for either Unagi Sayaka or Saya Kamitani. Probably more Saya Kamitani. But I'm not disappointed in this final four. I don't like the matchups personally, but because honestly, I don't see Unagi Sayaka beating Himeka. Saya Kamatani could definitely beat Micah, but Micah is very strong as well. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. This is an interesting final four. But if I had to pick one, I definitely would love Saya Kamatani to win this tournament. Ultimately, like I said, I made this prediction a while back. I'm predicting that before the end of this year, Saya Kamatani will hold some singles title in Stardom. I don't know which one, but she will be a singles champion before the end of this year. Mark my words. I'm sticking to that. I'm sticking to that. And then we had the start of the Future of Stardom championship tournament. We first had Mina Shirakawa taking on Ruka, which was a pretty decent match, and she ended up getting the victory with the flying forearm. Which, like I said, Mina Shirakawa has a really cool, nice flying forearm. Also, like that Kabuki forearm that Kairi Sane uses. But I tell you, I think AJ Styles would be proud of how well she executes that flying forearm. But yeah, Mina Shirakawa gets the victory over Ruka and advances in the Future of Stardom Championship tournament, which unfortunately the title, which was held by Saya Ida, unfortunately had to be vacated due to injury. But but yeah, and then as they were keeping that going, we also had let's see, I'm just going through what I have here. Um, we had Unagi Sayaka go up against Lady C as part of the Future of Stardom championship tournament. And of course, Unagi Sayaka got the victory over Lady C because, I mean, Lady C still has yet to win a match, unfortunately. And I like Lady C, but there's no telling when she'll finally win a match. So, yeah, Unagi over Lady C was pretty much a easy pick. But there was also there was a trios match between Donna Del Mundo and Oedo Tai. That Donna Del Mundo won. Natsupoi got the victory for her team. She's the high speed champion. And then Fukiken Death of Oedo Tai attacked Natsupoi, and Konami pretty much on her behalf challenged Natsupoi for the high speed title. So it's looking like we're eventually going to get a high speed championship match. Natsupoi defending against Fukiken Death. So definitely look forward to that. I think that should be cool. Um, Julia and Surety defended the Goddess of Stardom tag team titles against the MK sisters, Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid. And I tell you, this was an incredible, incredible match. Incredible match. Um, it definitely was back and forth. Mayu and Starlight Kid were on fire. at one point, and it was an insane match. Very insane match. These two teams really brought it, but ultimately Julia got the victory over Starlight Kid for her team to successfully defend the Goddess of Stardom tag titles. So Julia and Surety still still staying on top in the tag team division. But you best believe that Starlight Kid and Mayu, keep an eye out for them, especially as a tag team. And that's one thing I have to say, you know, I know Mayu has had a lot of betrayals take place, but when it comes down to it, Starlight Kid, realistically, Starlight Kid is the one that she can definitely trust the most. I don't think I could ever picture Mayu and Starlight Kid splitting, especially within the faction. But but yeah. So definitely great match. Great tag team match. Um and then let's see. Oh, we had the Artists of Stardom Trios titles defended as Cosmic Angels defended against Donna Del Mundo's Himeka, Maika, and Natsupoi. And this ended up breaking the record for most successful Artist of Stardom title defenses. The only catch is, which by the way, this was an excellent match. This was back and forth, had me on the edge of my seat, ended in a time limit draw. Which the crazy thing was, this was a 30-minute time limit match. And it ended in a draw. Typically, a lot of the time limit draws, usually the time limit's like 15 minutes. But this was a 30-minute time limit and it ended in a time limit draw. Just. But technically, it does count as a successful title defense, being the fact that you can't win the titles on a draw. You can't win the titles on a draw. So therefore, Cosmic Angels still retain the Artists of Stardom Trios titles. And that makes 5 defenses. Makes 5 defenses that breaks the record of successful Artists of Stardom Trios title defenses. So congratulations to Tam Nakano, Mina Shirakawa, Unagi Sayaka of Cosmic Angels. Now, of course, Donna Del Mundo, Himeka said they would like to have a rematch. They don't feel like this should have been decided via a draw. So it looks like they're going to eventually get a rematch. But Oedo Tai inserts their names into the picture, which I'm assuming is going to be Natsuko Tora, Fukiken Def, and Konami. That want a shot at the Artists of Stardom Trios titles. So Cosmic Angels looks like they're going to be busy. Potentially 2 upcoming title defenses. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. But I look forward to it. It should be good. It should be really good. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have for Stardom. Like I said, they're gonna have the finals, the semifinals and the finals of the Cinderella tournament on June 12th. I don't know when they are going to finish the Future of Stardom tournament. Yeah, I'm not sure when they're going to finish the Future of Stardom tournament. And also, it was posted on the We Are Stardom Twitter page that apparently Himeka is going to miss some upcoming Stardom shows to heal up from some injuries. They weren't disclosed what those injuries are, but apparently she'll be missing the May 22nd and 23rd shows and the June 5th, 6th, and 8th shows. So, at least she'll be able to be back in time for the Cinderella tournament. So that's good. So she's just going to take time to heal up from some injuries. But that's good. That's good that she's able to do that so that she can be ready to finish out the Cinderella tournament. So, so we still got a little while. We still got a little while before they finish up this tournament. But like I said, I'm willing to bet money that whoever wins this tournament is gonna challenge for the Wonder of Stardom Championship held by Tam Nakano because she just hasn't been defending that title. I think she might have defended that title maybe once or twice, possibly twice, but I think it was once since she beat Julia for it. So they need to really get her more involved in defending that title. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. They just got to get her more involved in defending that title. So, apparently, we have some bad news with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, unfortunately, in night 2 of Wrestling Dontaku, Will Ospreay got a neck injury. And unfortunately had to vacate the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to be returning to the UK for rehab and treatment, but it's such a big blow. Such a big blow. But at the same time, I mean, with him being such a high flyer, I mean, at the same time, it's high risk, high reward. You know, so it sucks. It sucks that it had to come down to this, but they're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do because originally it was gonna be Will Ospreay defending the title at Wrestle Grand Slam at the Tokyo Dome against Kazuchika Okada, but now since he's injured and he's is going to be missing action, he's got to vacate the title. So they're going to have to figure something out on how they decide the for the next champion. And I'm hearing a lot of my friends saying that maybe this is how Kota Ibushi wins the title back. Maybe, but yeah, it's a bummer. It's a really big bummer. This is a title that Will Ospreay finally was able to win and has to end up vacating it due to injury. So I'm hoping that he can recover ASAP. Don't know how long he'll be out for, but I take it it's going to be a while if he's going back to the UK to get treatment and do his physical therapy and rehab. So it looks like it's going to be a while. So, my best wishes and prayers go out to Will Ospreay. Hopefully he can bounce back ASAP. Because it's going to be weird without him. It's going to be weird without him. Let's see. Going into... so I wanted to mention something, a little bit of Impact Wrestling. So apparently, Don Callis is no longer, apparently as of April, is no longer vice president in Impact Wrestling. Yeah. And apparently, as time passed, his responsibilities were decreasing, and apparently it's expected that he's going to be getting a full-time position with AEW. I don't know what role he'll end up getting. I mean, he's already serving as, manager for Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, the Young Bucks, and he's been back and forth on Impact Wrestling and AEW, consistently. So I don't know. It looks like he may get like another backstage role or executive role. Maybe we'll join AEW that way. But yeah, this is interesting news. Definitely interesting news. So we'll see what else uh develop. But he is no longer an executive VP with Impact Wrestling. So yeah, thought it was really interesting. Um, so now let's shift over to some AEW. Now, one of the big news that stemmed out is apparently in 2022 AEW Dynamite will be shifting from TNT to TBS. I have to say this is an interesting move. Very interesting move. And not only is it doing that, they're adding another show, AEW Rampage. So that's 4 right there. You got Dynamite, you got Dark, you got Dark Elevation, and eventually, which I believe they said August 13th, AEW Rampage. So, Dynamite shifts to TBS in January of 2022. And apparently the move comes as TNT is adding the hour-long series AEW Rampage, which will debut August 13th at 10 p.m. Which August 13th, if I look at my calendar, August 13th, I believe, is a Friday. Is a Friday. So pretty much that will be on after Smackdown. And also will relocate to TBS as well as Dynamite. Now, of course, AEW Dark and Dark Elevation are both on YouTube, so you can access both of those through AEW's YouTube channel. But wow, AEW Dynamite and Rampage, this new Rampage, is moving to TBS, and it looks like Rampage, I guess, is going to consistently be, I guess, on Friday nights, I assume. Which, I mean, that'll be interesting, being on a slot right after WWE SmackDown. And, it just makes me really wonder, is this a move to try to get more viewers and to get the ratings up? Because, I mean, lately the ratings between NXT and AEW, while AEW's ratings have been higher, both of them, just in general have been low. Like week after week, and it's just been tough because I know you got NBA basketball, you got the final push into the playoffs going on, and just, there's a lot of competition. But and the thing that's weird about it is NXT has been, the last couple of weeks, they've been putting on great shows. They've been putting on great shows, but just the ratings don't really show it. So, but apparently the word is, according to this article, it was stated that both TBS and TNT have an incredible storied past with wrestling. So for us being able to put more AEW onto TBS was a natural fit. For me, being able to program these networks as a portfolio gives me the latitude to put them where it makes the most sense for the customer. Did NHL have anything to do with it? Sure. The NBA had to do something with it. We felt TBS had an opportunity to be the best platform for expansion. And this was Brett Weiss, the general manager of TBS, TNT, and True TV. So, so yeah, um, this will definitely be interesting. This will definitely be interesting. So we got AEW Rampage that starts this August, and then AEW Rampage and Dynamite will move to TBS January of 2022. So big news, definitely big news. Also, unfortunately, uh, Ray Phoenix has been injured and apparently has been taken off of the Double or Nothing card. Um, According to the article, apparently he's going to be out for a good while due to injuries. They weren't disclosed, but apparently it happened during a match that he had in Mexico, but there's no confirmation on that. And, of course, him and Penta El Cero Mero, the Lucha Bros, are the current AAA World Tag Team Champions, but apparently they haven't defended those titles in like a couple of months. So, yeah, there's no telling if they're going to have to vacate those or what. There's no disclosed amount of time of how long Ray Phoenix will be out, but, it feels like it wasn't that long ago that he was out injured, and then before Penta was out injured. So it's just really unfortunate because Ray Phoenix, another lucha libre high flyer, and it's high risk, high reward, and it's unfortunate that it's come down to this because I love Ray Phoenix. He puts on excellent matches, but the high flying, it's it could be the death of you. So my best wishes and prayers for Ray Phoenix. Hopefully, he can bounce back ASAP and return. But AEW Dynamite had a great match between Christian Cage and Matt Sydal. Like I said, uh, both wrestlers know each other well. Uh, knew each other back in WWE, and it was great. It was definitely a great clash of styles. Christian, not quite the high flyer that Matt Sydal is, but still, Christian is a very much all around type of wrestler. He can pretty much do a lot of different things. But ultimately, Christian Cage was able to hit the kill switch to get the victory and still undefeated since his AEW debut. Um, then, of course, got jumped by Team Taz. Adam Page came out and tried to help, but then he got taken out by Brian Cage. So, yeah, Team Taz standing strong. And, of course, the numbers game. The numbers game's going to get you. Um, we had the Acclaim going up against John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And, oh my goodness. Max Caster, of course, did his normal raps, and he dissed John Moxley's wife and using her the name of her podcast in his rap diss. And I tell you that it was sick. It was definitely sick. I know Renee had fired back, but it just was not as strong as what Matt Caster did on the mic, just to be honest. But of course, Mox and Kingston ended up winning this match. But you know, it wasn't it wasn't a short match of any of that type, based on a lot of recent matches that Mox and Kingston have had as a tag team lately. But yeah, if anything, Max Caster had a really, really funny moment on the mic dissing Mox's wife Renee. But Kingston and Mox did get the victory. And of course they've been undefeated as a tag team as well. So they're moving up the ranks. And yeah. Of course we got an interview with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Like I said, a tag team I'm not really a fan of. But Darby Allin and Sting were able to eventually interrupt. Got hit with the skateboard. Scorpio Sky got locked into the Scorpion Deathlock, tapped out for a bit. So we had that. We had MJF and the Pinnacle eating at a steakhouse, I believe. Um, had a little promo building up the Stadium Stampede match for Double or Nothing. You had Rebel taking on AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida. And even though Shida was able to get the victory, made Rebel tap out to a stretch muffler, worked on her knee throughout the last half of that match, made her tap out to the stretch muffler. But Britt Baker was able to attack her from behind and pulled a Seth Rollins and hit her with a curb stomp onto the title belt. So Britt Baker ending with momentum. And apparently it's been announced that they're going to do a special celebration for Hikaru Shida next week for her being the AEW Women's World Champion for over a year. So I'm pretty sure Britt Baker's gonna mess that up. But we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Let's see. And then of course, the Inner Circle came out. They did their promo, kind of fired back at MJF and the Pinnacle. And even though Santana still wasn't there, he's still going to be ready by the time to compete in Stadium Stampede. But Inner Circle got on the mic, did their thing. Jade Cargill, don't really care. Like I said, I don't like her. But Mark Sterling still trying to join her, but she ain't having it. But yeah. We had ourselves a really good NWA Women's World Championship match as Serena Deeb defended the title against Stir It Up, Red Velvet. And I have to say, Red Velvet has been getting better and better and better in the ring. I really, she's been having a lot of matches on Dark and Dark Elevation. Red Velvet's definitely growing on me. Like her, Ty Conti, legit Layla Hirsch, Abaddon, they're growing on me. They're definitely growing on me. And I tell you, this was back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth. And of course, Red Velvet was even doing some high flying as well. Very, very much can do the high flying stuff. And there were a lot of close near falls, but Serena Deeb took advantage of Red Velvet's leg and knee and ended up putting her in the Serenity lock. Actually, like once or twice, Red Velvet was able to battle out of it But after a chop block, dragging her back into the center of the ring and then putting her in the Serenity Lock again, unfortunately, the Red Velvet ended up tapping out. But it was such a great match. This was a great match. And I know it's been a while since we've seen Serena Deeb wrestle. Like, if I remember correctly, I think the last match she wrestled was in the women's AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament where she lost to Riho. But this was a great match. This was a phenomenal match. And Serena Deeb kind of showed some heelish ways. She showed some heelish ways. So maybe she's starting to turn a little bit to heel. We'll see. But she definitely showed some heelish ways in that match. But got to give it up for Red Velvet. She gave it a great effort and she looked great. She looked really great. Of course, we had Anthony Ogogo versus Austin Gunn, which apparently gut punched him twice, bleeding from the mouth. Ref had to stop the count, or stop the match. Yeah. I'm not even going to go any further with that. We had an interview with Kazarian and Daniels, and that didn't last long as Daniels hugged Kazarian, said something, and then walked off. And I'm guessing, I don't know if that means Daniels is done. Is he retiring? Is he done? Or is he just going to be a singles wrestler? Which, it's obvious that Kazarian's still going to be a singles wrestler, but his goal now is to take out every member of the Elite. I don't know how he's going to do that by himself, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. Miro came out. Of course, he's the new TNT champion. And he's going to defend his title against Dante Martin of Top Flight this coming Friday. Or, next Friday. And of course, Lance Archer came out. They were jaw-jacking back and forth. And of course, they have their match scheduled for Double or Nothing. So that should be really good. Looking forward to that. And then of course you did also have a moment where Kenny Omega and Don Callis tried to go up to Orange Cassidy and tried to get him to pretty much sign a waiver or a contract that would waive him being in the triple threat match for the AEW World Championship, and that supposedly he would be saved a future one-on-one match with Omega at some point. But of course, tore up the first contract. They had another copy for him, and it was just like, look, you just, you sleep on it, think on it, and such. So, which, that's not going to happen. But yeah, a couple of things. But yeah, we got, they're going to do a celebration of the Inner Circle next week, which I guess is supposed to be the potential way of saying, if we end up losing Stadium Stampede, this will be our last celebration sort of thing. But also to note that next week's Dynamite will actually not be on Wednesday. It'll be on Friday. It'll be on Friday at 10. So right after Smackdown. So yeah, next Friday is going to be quite an evening for pro wrestling, that's for sure. But anyway, The main event. We had the main event of the Young Bucks defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against the Varsity Blondes of Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. Of course, they had a promo before the match. They used to look up to the Young Bucks. They've even met with the Young Bucks, gotten a lot of advice from the Young Bucks, but they don't like what they've become, which, I don't know, part of me feels like, have y'all not been following them when they were with the Bullet Club? They were kind of doing the same sort of stuff. But, I mean, it is what it is. And of course, Don Callis was there. And it was a great match overall. But just the numbers were really just too much. With Don Callis, with Brandon Cutler. Even sprayed some of that free spray in Julia Hart's face, who just recently joined as part of the Varsity Blondes. But yeah, it took a combination of a Scorpion Deathlock on Brian Pillman Jr. plus a springboard facebuster / X Factor that pretty much led to him tapping out. But it was really a high intense match. And at the same time, I'm happy for the Varsity Blondes getting a main event spot on Dynamite. Can't look down on that. But of course, we knew that the Varsity Blondes weren't going to beat the Young Bucks. But it was still a really good match. And just the numbers were too much. But what a way to end this episode of Dynamite with Mox and Kingston coming down, attacking, taking out the Young Bucks, and stealing their shoes. Stealing their shoes and socks. I think they had on, special custom-made Nikes or custom-made Jordans, one of the two, but they beat them down and stole their shoes and socks. I'm like, really? But that was quite a way to end Dynamite. I tell you, that was funny. That was definitely funny. I didn't see that coming, so that was funny. But sneak of thieves. But yeah, that was AEW Dynamite. Good episode overall. Good episode. WWE. First, I wanted to mention that, so unfortunately, some more injury news. The Miz suffered a torn ACL, which I still don't know if it was a partial or a full tear, but he unfortunately suffered a torn ACL at WrestleMania Backlash. And the word is what happened was when Damian Priest was doing like that top rope flying kick, apparently he landed on Miz's leg, I guess around the knee area, and that's when supposedly when it might have happened. But of course, they had to write him off with having the zombies eat him up and such. But yeah, torn ACL. Word is that he's to be out for about 7 to 9 months. It really sucks because this is really the Miz's first real big significant injury in his career. The Miz is a very safe worker. The Miz has been very consistent. He's stayed healthy. And, he's 40 years old now. And it's just really bad time that this happened. It was just really unfortunate. But overall, the Miz has always been known to be a safe wrestler. Safe wrestler to work with. And he's been consistently healthy. So, this hurts. I mean, I'm not a huge, ginormous Miz fan, but this one hurts. This one definitely hurts. And I gotta give credit where credit's due. So I do hope that he's able to make a full recovery and come back. You know, if it's a partial tear, he'll come back sooner. So here's hoping. But you know, I'm hoping that he can come back and give it another good run. You know, but he is, like I said, he's 40. You know, he's little by little getting up there in age. But this is his first big injury that he's had in his career. So he's taken really good care of himself and he's been a safe worker. Got to give him mad credit for that. But but yeah, Raw. So supposedly Lashley on well Lashley came down with some gorgeous women and MVP declared that it was making an open challenge on Bobby Lashley's behalf to anybody that wanted a shot at Bobby Lashley. And supposedly the idea was that whoever stepped up would get a title shot in an open challenge for the title. Drew McIntyre interrupted, and apparently, you know, what he meant to say was, you know, the open challenges for anybody except for Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. So, yeah. Um, AJ Styles and Elias went at it again. AJ Styles won by disqualification. Um, yeah. Natalia and Tamina were on Alexa's playground, and that was just a really weird segment. Angel Garza beat Drew Gulak again, and this time shoved the rose down his throat, shoved it in his mouth, took the stem part off, and just shoved the red rose part in his mouth. So once again, Drew Gulak humiliated. Um, Kofi Kingston ended up getting a victory over Randy Orton, which of course, you know, Xavier Woods distracted Randy, you know, using his trombone. And of course, there was some tension there between Matt Riddle and the New Day to the point where Matt Riddle shoved down Xavier Woods. But yeah. Randy Orton, the victim of a roll up. Yeah. Um we had a women's tag title rematch. As Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler got another shot. Alexa supposedly interfered and set one of the turnbuckles on the side or the turnbuckle post on the side closest to Reginald lit up on fire and he fell off the steel steps, I guess acting like he was burned in the face by it. And then Tamina and Natalia were able to take advantage with a heart attack on Shayna. Pin Shayna. So Shayna pinned again. We had a match between Ricochet and the United States Champion Sheamus, a rematch from the pre-show of WrestleMania Backlash. And actually a really good match. I'll give them credit. This was a good match, but of course, Sheamus won with a brogue kick, and yeah, just once again, that's 2 losses in a row to Sheamus from Ricochet. You know, ever since he's been back on the scene, 2 back-to-back losses. So, yeah. And then Asuka and Charlotte went at it again. This was a good match. I mean, Asuka and Charlotte we may have seen a bunch of times, but both of them still put on great matches against each other. But of course, Rhea Ripley was there. Um, distracted Charlotte. Asuka took advantage and was able to pin Charlotte for the victory. And if I remember correctly, I believe now Asuka is undefeated this year against Charlotte in matches against Charlotte this year so far. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But I mean, what does this mean? You know, because the whole idea was for Charlotte to, I guess, get this win and get back into the title picture. But with Asuka winning, I mean, what does that mean? Does she get yet another shot at Rhea? I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Damian Priest and John Morrison had a match, another lumberjack match with actual real lumberjacks, and it even included Nikki Cross as one of the lumberjack, I guess Lumberjill. But that was really weird. Only the only lady out there with the lumberjacks, Nikki Cross, but yet can't get her a match on TV. It's so dumb. Really, really dumb. Damian Priest, once again, gets the victory. And, you know, there were talks from him about maybe answering Bobby Lashley's open challenge. But here's what happened. So, who answered Bobby Lashley's open challenge? It ended up being Kofi Kingston. And of course, it was, you know, then mentioned that it was an open challenge, but the title would not be on the line. And once again, just like how he beat Randy Orton, Xavier Woods plays on the trombone. And even though the distraction failed because the referee got sent to the back, Drew McIntyre came through, took MVP's cane, and hit Lashley with it. Originally, MVP was going to hit Kofi with his cane. Drew came out, took it from him, and hit Lashley, and this gave opening another roll-up for Kofi to secure the victory over the WWE champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley. So, oh man. So what does this mean? Is now Kofi Kingston going to get a WWE title shot? Could this be the rebirth of Kofi Mania? I'm just like, personally, I'm like, of all the people that could have answered the open challenge, Kofi Kingston ends up being the one. I would have much rather it be uh Damian Priest. Because honestly, Damian Priest has gotten multiple victories over The Miz and John Morrison. It's time for Damian Priest to be moved on to a different path. And I think that would have been at least a good way of at least giving him a shot against Bobby Lashley. But no, they went with Kofi. I don't agree with it, but yeah. I just think it's crazy. Kofi Kingston, 2 victories on Raw. One over Randy Orton and one over Bobby Lashley. That's crazy. That's crazy. Just being honest. That's crazy. It's crazy. Um NXT. I also wanted to note that apparently there were a lot of NXT superstars released earlier this week. Um, the folks that were released were Alexander Wolf, which I'll get into him specifically at when I do the NXT review. Jessamine Duke, uh, one of the four horsewomen of MMA with Ronda Rousey, Marina Shafir, and Shayna Baszler. But yeah, she got released. Vanessa Bourne got released, which word was she was supposed to be getting a shot on the main roster. Didn't really happen. Kavita Devi, which really shocked me, as one of the wrestlers, the wrestlers that took part in the Mae Young Classic. I thought they were really, really gonna keep her and push her as, representative of India in the women's division, but she gets released. Brandy Lauren, aka Skylar Story, got released. And, I've known Brandy Lauren from her time in Evolve. Ezra Judge and Jake Clemens, who was a referee, which apparently was from when Kevin Owens discovered he was a Seth Rollins disciple and powerbombed him through a table. Interesting. I vaguely remember that. To be honest with you, I vaguely remember that. And also, the referee Drake Wirtz got released as well. Which apparently he's been known for sharing like his controversial views, and supposedly the word is that he's racist. And that he was a religious extremist, conspiracy theory type of person. But supposedly the word is supposedly he was racist. But I don't know. Like, it's definitely something that is a very sensitive personal subject. And if that was one of the issues, if that was a big main issue, then it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And he was a well-known referee, very active referee. But yeah, it was just really sucked that happened, that was turned out to be an issue. And Jessamine Duke, going back through some of the lists, Jessamine Duke, last time she really did anything was back on Raw Underground. And, of course, Marina Shafir, who's Roderick Strong's wife, they both walked out after the whole imploding of the Undisputed Era. So, and Ronda Rousey is supposedly having a baby, so right now it's just Shayna Baszler. Vanessa Bourne, I don't even remember the last time I saw Vanessa Bourne, so it doesn't surprise me. And like I said, I'll get to Alexander Wolf in a little bit, but that wasn't the only releases. Apparently, one more took place a day afterwards, and it was the release of the Velveteen Dream. And honestly, it does not surprise me. I felt like it was a matter of time. I mean, he hadn't really been on TV, and I think the last match I remember him in, I think he was in a match with Kushida, I believe. Kushida and I think Pete Dunn or something like that. It was him, Kushida, and somebody else. But that was the last time he was really in a match. And honestly, he's kind of dealt with a lot. I mean, he had the stuff, the allegations of supposedly him sending the indecent images to underage boys. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me, and it sucks because he was great on the mic. He was a great character, very very great in the ring as well. Very charismatic. So it really sucks that it came down to this. But, I mean, and apparently there were no plans to use him on the main roster. So, and I know there were a lot of anti Velveteen Dream trends. I can imagine a lot of people were happy that he was released. You know, plain and simple as that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were happy. But, you know, it sucks that it came down to that, but it doesn't surprise me either. You know? So, um, but anyway, NXT. NXT got off to a great start. Had Toni Storm versus Zoe Stark, which was a really great match. It was definitely back and forth, and there was even a point where Toni Storm hit Storm Zero on Zoe Stark, and she kicked out. She kicked out, but then what followed afterwards was an insane, awesome maneuver that Toni Storm hit Zoe Stark to get the victory. And it was like a reverse arm drag like move into like a spike DDT. It was I I don't know how you describe it. I don't even think it has a name yet. But Toni Storm hit that move and it was lights out Zoe Stark. And Toni Storm gets the victory. But that was an impressive, sick move she pulled to put Zoe away. I'm very curious to hear what that's going to be called, because that was a sick move. Um, you also had Jake Atlas versus Cameron Grimes, which it looked like Cameron Grimes was going to win this match, but Ted DiBiase shows up, distracts Cameron Grimes. Jake Atlas takes advantage, gets the victory. Of course, Cameron Grimes was taking some shots at Ted DiBiase before the match, playing a montage of the $1 Million Man pretty much getting attacked and losing matches and, you know, taking moves from other wrestlers, you know, as a shot, as an insult to the $1 Million Man. But yeah, Ted DiBiase got payback, caused a distraction. Cameron Grimes loses to Jake Atlas. So, yeah. You had Killian Dane versus Alexander Wolf, which, you know, two former members of Sanity going at it. Imperium was there, and they tried to pretty much help Alexander Wolf, you know, pretty much help him to cheat, execute whatever plan that they had. And Killian Dane was able to take advantage and get the victory. So Killian Dane gets a crossbody, gets the victory over Alexander Wolf. Afterwards, it looked like Imperium were going to pose together. And then Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel jump Alexander Wolf from behind, beat him down, brutally assault him. And pretty much this is how they write him off. Because Alexander Wolf, like I mentioned earlier, was one of the folks released from WWE. So this is pretty much how they wrote him off. So Alexander Wolf gone. So now Imperium is just Walter, Marcel Bartel, and Fabian Eichner. So 3-man crew. You had Legado de Fantasma going up against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. This was actually a really good match. And it was back and forth for a bit, although it looked like Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa was going to get the victory, because I felt like they did a lot more. But grizzled young veterans decided to interfere, and they took out Tommaso Ciampa, and pretty much Raul Mendoza and Walking Wild took advantage, got the running Enziguri Russian leg sweep combo. I don't know if they have a name for that, but got a big victory over Thatcher and Ciampa. And it looks like this is going to lead to Walking Wild and Raul Mendoza getting a tag title shot against MSK. So we'll see what happens. But it looks like they're being built up for the next title shot. We got to see Saray in action again. She went up against Aaliyah, which this wasn't a long match, not especially compared to her match with Zoe Stark and the other lady. Oh man, I done already forgot her name. But this match wasn't as long as those other two matches. But yeah, I was able to nail a couple of drop kicks and hit that. I don't know what that is. It's like a twisting Uranagi suplex, but just she makes it look devastating. But was able to get the victory over Aaliyah. Like I said, it wasn't a long match. But Saray still undefeated in the WWE and NXT. So it'll be interesting to see who she'll face next. She's 3-0. So good stuff. We got to see Hit Row. Ashanti D. Adonis and Top Dollar make their debut on NXT, going up against Arya Daivari and Tony Nese. And this wasn't a long match. Nese and Daivari tried to get what offense they could get in, but it didn't last. And Top Dollar was able to even hit a Samoan drop fall away slam combo with both Nese and Daivari. But yeah, Hit Row gets a victory over these two. Like I said, wasn't a long match, but if anything, it got to showcase Ashanti the Adonis and Top Dollar. This is pretty much Top Dollar's first on-screen match. So this was good. This was definitely good. Starting to see this new stable Hit Row showcased. So I like what they're doing. I think this could turn into a very good stable. So keep it up. There was also a segment where couple of things. There's actually a couple of segments. So one, looks like Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, definitely want to get back in and get a shot at the way for the tag titles. Bobby Fish wants to go after Pete Dunne and Oni Lorcan. He had an interview, wants to go after them. So just glad to see Bobby Fish is back. And then of course, they had interviews with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, and it looks like they too want to get themselves back into the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship picture. But I still think eventually Dakota Kai is going to turn on Raquel. I feel it coming. Pete Dunne had an interview as well, and he's talked about a few of the other folks that he could challenge for their titles, but it looks like his number one goal is still the NXT title. So something to keep an eye out to see how Pete Dunne, the Digit Man, progresses. And then at the spa day that Candice and Indy had, very interesting development. So they ran the credit card to pay for the spa treatment, the massages and all that, and it was declined. And the reason why it was declined was because apparently they said, what, 3 weeks ago or something like that, purchase was made on there from the florist, which, you know, if you think back, 3 weeks ago was I think it was before Stand and Deliver, or was leading up to Stand and Deliver, NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, and or actually no, excuse me, no, that's wrong. It was just leading up to the tag team title main event, and apparently the truth was revealed. Yes, the truth was revealed that Candice purchased those flowers and chocolates for Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, not Dexter Lumis, even though Dexter Lumis was actually there for a portion of the massage. But yeah, the truth came out that it was a setup. It was a setup. So now Indy is happy again. She feels like Dexter Lumis loves her, so she's ready to, I guess she's ready to kiss and make up with him. So we'll see what happens. But the truth finally came out, and now she wants her man back. Yeah. And of course they did another prime target highlighting the build up for Finn Balor Karrion Kross 2 for the NXT Championship. So that should be good. That should be good. That'll be this coming week. So that should be really good. Okay, main event. Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano for the North American title in a steel cage match. And I tell you, this was a pretty entertaining match. Of course, Austin Theory kept trying to play a role in just helping out Gargano and trying to just stop whatever attempts from Bronson Reed getting out of the cage, which he kind of kept him on his toes. But even there was a moment where Gargano hit a poison Rana on Bronson Reed, and it was sick. It was sick. Not only that, he did kind of sort of hit him with the one final beat, but kicked out. And when I saw that, I had a feeling in my heart, Bronson Reed is probably going to win this now. But eventually, he was able to finally fend off Austin Theory for good. And instead of exiting the cage, went ahead and closed the steel door shut and was able to actually hit Gargano with two tsunamis. Of course, one was across his back, as it looked like he was trying to escape. And then the second one pretty much sealed the deal. Second tsunami sealed the deal. 1, 2, 3. Bronson Reed is your new NXT North American champion. And they also had a segment where he celebrated in the ring with his wife. You know, did a little speech, thanking the fans and everybody, just giving his little thank you speech. And he was there with his wife, thanked his wife. So that was a really cool segment. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Bronson Reed is your new NXT North American champion. So this is cool. This is really cool. And we'll have to see what kind of title run he'll have. You know, Bronson Reed's been on fire lately. You know, he's been getting a lot of buzz, a lot of TV time, a lot of matches. You know, Bronson Reed been doing his thing. So, you know, congratulations to him on winning the title. But yeah, I hope he has a pretty good run. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. Okay, NXT UK. NXT UK started off pretty hard hitting. We had Rampage Brown versus Wolfgang of Gallus. And of course, Rampage Brown still has a pretty good record. Like I said, his only loss so far has been to Falter. But Rampage Brown gets back to his winning ways and was able to dethrone Wolfgang. Was able to hit the Doctor Bomb, courtesy of shout outs to the late great Doctor Death Steve Williams. But yeah, was able to defeat Wolfgang. So yeah, Rampage Brown still getting back on top of the winning ladder. We'd had Amale, or a male, I think it's a male, going up against Xia Brookside. Now, of course, this match stemmed from, remember, a male took out Xia Brookside, which took her out of the women's in NXT UK Women's Championship Eliminator Gauntlet. But a male ended up winning against Xia Brookside. I mean, I honestly thought Xia Brookside was going to bounce back and get this victory, and it was back and forth. Xia Brookside was doing her thing, but a male ended up getting the victory. Got her with like some sort of spine buster, but yeah, defeated Xia Brookside. That's a big victory. And it looks like, we have ourselves a new rivalry here. Of course, previously it was Xia Brookside and Nina Samuels. They've been kind of going back and forth. But now, transition to Xia Brookside and a male. So we'll have to see what happens, how that rivalry stems out. But right now, a male definitely has the advantage. You had another Supernova Sessions. You had Noam Dar with Ilya Dragunov and pretty much tried to, I guess, play the role of like a Zen sort of therapist sort of session thing for Ilya Dragunov. That didn't really go well. Even had a therapy dog, like a stuffed therapy dog that he gave to him, and it was just, yeah. Of course, Ilya Dragunov wasn't buying it. It was called a fake, and just they exchanged words. Ilya Dragunov walked off, but he came back and got I guess he decided to keep the therapy dog, which was pretty weird, but I don't know. This was interesting. Ilya Dragunov was pretty calm, cool, and collected throughout this Supernova Sessions. But, yeah. And then the main event was the much anticipated Heritage Cup Championship match under Heritage Cup rules. A-Kid, the current NXT UK Heritage Cup champion, defending against Tyler Bate. Now, of course, the last time these two faced each other, A-Kid got the victory over Tyler Bate. Of course, it was Heritage Cup rules and all. And this was very intense. Of course, Trent Seven was in Tyler Bates' corner. Of course, they're Mustache Mountain. But this was a very intense back and forth match. They threw everything at each other. Even there was a point where A-Kid even kicked out of a Tyler Driver 97, and he had the opportunity to make Tyler Bate submit, but he didn't submit, and it was back and forth. And in the final round, it went all the way to the final round, and Tyler Bate was able to get a pin reversal on A-Kid to get the one needed victory, the one needed pin, and Tyler Bate is your new NXT UK Heritage Cup champion. That's right. So, Tyler Bate has now won 2 titles on NXT UK. He was the inaugural NXT United Kingdom. He was the inaugural NXT UK United Kingdom champion. He was the first United Kingdom champion, and he's now the NXT UK Heritage Cup champion. So, and of course, on regular NXT, he was, NXT Tag Team Champion with Trent Seven, Mustache Mountain. But yeah. So Tyler Bate back with a championship in the Heritage Cup. So this was, like I said, quite an epic match. It is a little bit of a bummer that A-Kid's title run has ended, but this was an epic match under Heritage Cup rules, and it went the distance. Went the distance. But NXT UK had a great showing. Also failed to mention there was a point where they showed a video of Aoife Valkyrie pretty much training, trying to make a comeback and such. So keep an eye out on her. Some more build up for Kaylee Ray versus Meiko Satomura. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. And then Smackdown. Smackdown had an interesting start. Sonya Deville was trying to do a little showcase for a parade of champions to showcase the current SmackDown champions. I mean, you had the new tag team champs, the Mysterios, the first ever father and son tag team champions. You had Tamina and Natalia, the new WWE Women's Tag Team champs. Of course, you have Bianca Belair as the SmackDown Women's Champion. You had Apollo Crews, Intercontinental Champion. And of course, the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, he didn't even come out. Paul Heyman did. Then, of course, you had Bayley come out and complain about how she should have been part of this parade and how Bianca Belair cheated and blah, blah, blah. Ended up turning into a brawl to start out because Nia and Shayna got involved. And then Tamina and Natalia got involved. It ended up turning into a 6-woman tag team match where Nia, Shayna, and Bayley ended up getting the victory over the championship team of Bianca Belair, Natalia, and Tamina. Like I said, I still don't even know why they're keeping Nia and Shayna together. They need to go their separate ways. In all seriousness, they need to go their separate ways. I'm just saying. You had Shinsuke Nakamura defeat Baron Corbin. You had Rick Boggs or Boggs play Shinsuke's theme on electric guitar. It was pretty much in his corner. Would occasionally play that theme, and Shinsuke was able to take advantage and get a victory, a roll-up, small package on King Corbin, and still has his crown. So, yeah. Cesaro tried to challenge Roman Reigns to another Universal Championship match, and of course he gets ambushed once again by Seth Rollins sporting another fruity, weird looking suit. And it got so bad to the point where Cesaro had to be taken out on a stretcher. And he was already in a sling before that, but he had to get taken out on a stretcher. Jimmy Uso talked with Sonya Deville to get back into the tag title picture, and he wants a match with the Street Profits for him and Jey Uso, which did get booked. Looked like Jey Uso wasn't a fan of that, or at least, not a fan of that happening without Roman Reigns knowing. So, of course, told Roman Reigns. They hugged him and whispered something in his ear. I don't know what it was, but yeah. Dominic Mysterio had a singles match with Robert Roode. Mr. Ziggles tried to interfere. Rey Mysterio took him out. I think kicked him in the ankle. Or at least pulled him off, and you landed on his ankle or something like that. But Dominic was able to take advantage, hit a 619, frog splash, pin, win. So momentum is still strong with the Mysterios. And then the main event was a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. Apollo Crews versus Kevin Owens versus Big E versus Sami Zayn. Now, of course, each of these wrestlers got some promo time as well. Got some interview / promo time. And it was actually a good match. It was a good match. All four competitors really were showcased. We got to see a lot of cool stuff between all four competitors. And when it was all said and done, out of nowhere, Aleister Black appears, takes his jacket off, and gives Big E a black mass. And Apollo Crews takes advantage, gets the pin for the 1-2-3 to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Now, of course, earlier in the night, Aleister Black did another story time promo vignette, but Aleister Black actually showed up in this main event at the last moment, gave Big E a black mass, a deadly black mass. Apollo Crews took advantage, got the victory. So, I mean, is this going to spark something between Big E and Aleister Black? Because, I mean, he pretty much costed him the match. Looked like he was going to take advantage. But Aleister Black squashes the opportunity. And I think we can look forward to see Aleister Black finally back in the ring. It looks like we're going to get a storyline with him and Big E. So this should be good. This should be really good. Or just to see what it ends up leading to. Because like I said, it's been forever since Aleister Black has pretty much had a match on TV. He's now back to being seen on TV. So I hope they really got something good for Aleister Black going forward. So here's hoping. Here's hoping. There's one last thing I wanted to point out before I end this. So apparently Ricochet has gotten quite a lot of heat from a tweet that he made. It started out, there was a tweet from WWE that pretty much has a graphic on there that says, who is the best high flyer in the WWE right now? And Ricochet retweeted it, quoted the tweet, I guess. Pardon me. And he said, and this was his quote, "There's literally no one who can do what I do and how I do it, but I'll let y'all discuss." So pretty much talking about pretty much talking about his abilities, saying that he's the best high flyer. And, you know, I think he responded to some of the tweets, but there was one in particular that he responded to um, where one fan, I guess this was a fan, there was a fan that said, and I quote, touche. In that aspect, I can agree, but Io Shirai, and tagged Io Shirai, is also a phenomenal high flyer as well. She's the best at what she does. That was in response to Ricochet, who had said previously, and none are as good as mine. And then Ricochet said this in response to that, which he did later on. I think not too long after that, ended up deleting the tweet. But he ended up saying, and I quote, I'm not saying she's not amazing, as in regards to Io Shirai. She 100% is, but I can do everything she can, probably even better. She can't do what I am capable of, maybe not even half. And this was pretty much what sparked the heat towards Ricochet. Okay, I'll say this. Let me say this. I honestly don't believe that Ricochet meant any direct harm towards Io Shirai. I don't think he meant to take shots at her, but his choice of words could have been better. I feel like his choice of words could have been better because it does kind of give that vibe like he's taking shots at her. Now, of course, it can easily be misconstrued, especially, things written down in text form versus, actually saying them. But I honestly, two things. I honestly don't think he meant to directly fire shots at Io Shirai or downplay Io Shirai. I just felt like the choice of words were kind of bad. He could have used a better choice of words. But at the same time, I mean, is he wrong? I mean, I'll say this. Ricochet definitely has a strong case in pleading to be the best high flyer. I mean, he has a very strong case, and he is one of the best high flyers. I mean, I put him definitely. I mean, there's a list of great high flyers. Him, Pac, Ray Phoenix, um, Will Osprey. Like, there are a lot out there. You know, Io Shirai. The thing is, when I look at Io Shirai, I look at her as one of the best wrestlers in the world. Not best female wrestler, not best high flyer. I believe she's one of the legit best wrestlers in the world. Like, can hang with anybody. Male, female, it doesn't matter. I feel like Io Shirai is one of the best wrestlers in the world, in general. But at the same time, Ricochet does make a point. Now, there's a lot of stuff that Io Shirai can do. She definitely has, the high flying background, can do, some lucha libre stuff. I mean, she can do a lot of stuff. But let's be real. Like, compared to Ricochet, I ain't never seen her do a double rotation moonsault. I've never seen her do a 630 senton. I've never seen her uh do a forward flip out of the ring onto the outside and land on her feet. I've never seen her do that. Ricochet has done that easily. So I mean, yeah, there are certain things that Ricochet can do that Io Shirai either can't do or just flat out doesn't do. So he has a fair argument because I can't picture Io Shirai doing a double rotation moonsault or a 630 or any of what I mentioned. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And who knows? Maybe she actually can and just won't. But something tells me that she can't. But it's okay if that's not true. If that's not true, fine. There's no shame in that. But Ricochet has a strong argument. Now, I do feel like all around when it comes to like charisma, mic skills, definitely would have to give the advantage to Io Shirai because Ricochet on the mic kind of questionable, and I know she's gotten a lot more TV time than Ricochet, which I mean that's unfortunate. I don't really like to measure it by that, but I mean there are some things that Io Shirai you know are better at than Ricochet. But both are great wrestlers. And Ricochet is an insanely great high flyer. Somebody that I've followed ever since Dragon Gate. So he's legit. And he has a good argument for claiming to be the best high flyer. He has a good argument. And he might not even be the best high flyer, but for him to say that, I kind of understand. And he's confident in his abilities. I don't think it's super cockiness. I think he's confident in his abilities. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think he honestly meant to throw any shade or take any shots at Io. My only thing is, yes, his choice of words could have been better. Really should have been better. Because like I said, it's very easy to take words written down out of context or misconstrue them. So that's just my take on it. But just thought I'd throw in my thoughts on that. Anyway, that's pretty much all that I have for tonight's pro wrestling talk. Um, so next week, I know for next week I'll go ahead and I'll make sure to do a preview video going over the AEW Double or Nothing card since that'll be next Sunday. So that'll be exciting. Looking very forward to that. But yeah. Next week's pretty much the go home week for AEW. So yeah, looking forward to it. But anyway, let me know what y'all's thoughts are on what's going on in Stardom with the Cinderella tournament and the Future of Stardom Championship tournament. Let me know how y'all feel about the recent injuries, AEW, WWE, like a lot of what's going on, what's upcoming. Let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss any video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram signing off for another edition of Pro Wrestling Talk. Hope everybody has a blessed weekend, and I will see y'all soon. Laters.